Hi friends, thank you very much for clicking ABC Learning English Solution. Friends, today on this video we are going to discuss some of the questions, and obviously I will discuss the entire logic behind this question. And my dear friends, if you are taking part in any kind of competitive exam, so this question will help you a lot. And my dear friends, if you are only just a learner, then also it will be very much beneficial for you. So my dear friends, without wasting time, let's get started. Friends, our first question: hardly had he reached the station, blank space, the train left. Friends, actually two sentences are there. He had reached the station, and the second one is the train left. Friends, it is a combination of two sentences. That means it's a complex sentence. Whenever two actions take place, this is action 1, this is action 2, and between these actions there is no such time gap. That means the first action is completed and instantly the second action started. For this sense we use this structure. And there is another thing, that means we can write it down using as soon as. At that time, if we use as soon as, at that time the sentence will be as soon as he reached the station, the train left. This is the main thing. But my dear friends, you can see that there is this part, hardly. It is basically adverb, and there is a conjunction, subordinate conjunction, which is when. Actually, hardly and when, it is, you can say, a correlative. That means if we use hardly, obviously we have to use when. All time we have to write down when. So here you can see B is the correct answer. So the answer will be hardly had he reached the station when the train left. One thing we must remember here, that is, as it is the adverb, if we use any kind of adverb at the beginning of the sentence, my dear friends, just like this one, some of the sentences you can see it starts with never, seldom. So basically these are adverbs, and if we use any kind of adverb in the first part or at the beginning of the sentence, obviously this sentence, that means the main clause, that should be inverted. Actually, subject plus verb or auxiliary verb then main verb, it is the assertive structure. But my dear friends, as we have used hardly before, we have to use the auxiliary verb at first, and after that we have to write down the subject. This is called inverted form, and mind it, it is not the interrogative structure, it is an assertive structure. After completion of this part we have to put full stop. We cannot write down question mark here. The punctuation must be full stop. This is actually called inversion. So we have to invert this structure. This is very important thing. So the answer will be hardly had he reached the station when the train left. Friends, I think you understood the logic. The next question: no sooner, blank space, then the guest arrived. So the same situation, my dear friends, it is also the same situation. In same way we can use no sooner. So no sooner, friends, this is basically adverb. That means after that we have to invert the structure of the sentences. That means we have to write down in inverted form. No sooner is always followed by then is written here, so there is no problem. The first sentence is one sentence is the guests arrived. There will be another sentence here. You can see this is that means subject and the verb sat. The main present verb is sit, or it is sat. This is the past form, or you can say past participle form. Friends, here also you can see two actions. Here also you can see there are two actions, action 1, action 2. My dear friends, all these are past actions. As a result, whenever we use two past actions and the number one action is related to number 2 action. That means we are not saying about consecutive past actions. If it is consecutive past actions, at that time we can use past indefinite tense, both of these cases. But if the first sentence, the first action, it is related to second action, so obviously this is a time. The main thing is that this action 2 is taking place in a particular time, and we are relating with the previous one. That means this is past time of this past. That means this is past of past. So it is called past perfect. That means the first action will be past perfect. Past perfect means subject plus had plus V3. Subject plus had plus V3. This is the past perfect structure. Now, my dear friends, as no sooner is written earlier at the beginning of the sentence, so obviously we have to invert the structure. That means the subject is I had sat. Here you can see I had sat, but we should not write down I had sat because we have to invert it. That means this is the inverted form. First had, then subject. It is the inverted form, and after that, at the end of the sentence, you can see this is full stop. So the correct structure will be had I sat. It is inverted form, as no sooner is written at the beginning of the sentence. Friends, I think the logic is clear to you. Now, the third question. He behaves as though he blank space the owner. Friends, here you can see the conjunction as though. As though or as if. Whenever we use as though or as if in our sentence, it always attracts the imaginary sentence. That means imaginary part. I mean to say, after as though or as if, we have to write down, after as though or as if, we have to write down, friends, hypothetical sentences or imaginary sentences, which is called subjunctive mood. That means after this conjunction, we cannot write down any kind of tense. We have to write down subjunctive mood. It may be present subjunctive, it may be past subjunctive, or it may be perfect subjunctive. So, my dear friends, as though as it is written, we have to choose the subjunctive mood form. Here you can see all the verbs in options. B is the base form. Friends, for present subjunctive mood or for present imagination, we have to use the V2 form. For any kind of doing verb, we have to use the V2 form. That means we have to use the past form of the verb. It is not past tense, it is actually past subjunctive mood. And for B verb, always we have to write down where. So we cannot write down was here or is here, because the subjunctive verb is where. Only one term for B verb, that is where. And for any kind of subject, no need to agree with the subject, with no need to see whether it is he, she, I, you, whatever it may be. No need agreement, because it is not tense. At the time of using tense, we have to agree our subject with that of the verb according to the person, according to the case, according to the number of the subject. But here no need to write down any kind of agreement, because there is only one form, that is where. So the correct answer will be he behaves as though he were the owner. He were the owner. Actually, the as though he were the owner, the meaning of this part is actually he is not. That means he is not the owner. This is the fact. This is tense. He is not the owner, but he behaves, he pretends to be the owner of this thing or owner of this house. But he is not. Actually, the fact is that he is not the owner. Actually, he were the owner. It means he is not. That means he is not the owner. This is the fact, and it is imagination. He thinks that it is imagination. Friends, I think the structure is clear to you. Friends, question number 4. I wish I blank space richer. Friends, you can see here I wish. Whenever you see this type of I wish, or you can see oh that, or you can see if only, or you can see would rather, would sooner, these types of phrase always attracts subjunctive mood. That means after this type of phrase, we cannot use tense verb. Always we have to use subjunctive mood. That means after that we cannot use indicative verb or indicative tense. Always we have to use the subjunctive mood. And for this question, here you can see all these are the be verbs, not this one. The am, was, were. These are the forms of be verb. Be verbs have different forms, you know, and these are the all these three ABC. These are the forms of be verb. And actually we have to use the V2 form here, as it is past subjunctive. So we have to use V2 form, and that is where. For any kind of subject, no need to agree with the verb or no need to agree with the subject. We have to only write down where here, because this is the subjunctive form. Subject, then V2, then the adjective or whatever it may be. So here the correct answer is where. I wish I were richer. Friends, the actual meaning is that, here you can see, the actual meaning is that I were richer. It means I am not. That means this is the imagination of the present time. This is the imagination of the present time. This part is the imaginary part. This is my imagination. This is the fact. I am not richer. That is why it is my imagination. That is why we have written I wish I were richer. So here we have to write down the form where. Only one answer is there, that is where. Friends, I think you understand the situation. The same question. If I blank space you, I would never do this. Friends, if I dash you, here we have to write down where. If I were you. This is basically conditional sentence. This is type 2 condition. And this part is, you can see, it is imaginary. It is imaginary. It is present subjunctive form, present subjunctive mode. Actually, friends, here in this part you can see, if I blank space you. That means that means the fact is that I am not. The meaning is I am not. That is why, as it is imagination, we have to write down the form where. Friends, I think you can understand. It is almost all these 2 or 3 questions are almost same. I think you can understand the logic. Next, it is also a question of agreement. Neither the teacher nor the students blank space present. Friends, neither nor, either or, not only but also, these types of conjunctions are called correlative conjunctions. That means all time we have to use this combination. Suppose either, that means either is, it is followed by or. Not only it is always followed by but also. That means these are called correlative conjunctions. So we have to use these correlative conjunctions. Here it is written neither is followed by nor. So there is no such mistake. It's correct. But here in case of agreement, friends, for these correlative conjunctions, we have to see which part is the important. Here you can see noun phrases are there. One is the teacher, another one is the students. Friends, here we have to place the verb, and for agreement we have to choose that particular subject or that particular nouns which is very much close to the verb. So here this is the closest to the verb. That means the students. This phrase is closest to the verb. So for agreement, these students is important. This part is important. As it is plural, we have to choose the plural verb. Here we have to choose the plural verb because this is close to verb. Here was, is, are, has, all these are singular except this C. It is plural. So we have to write down are here. The answer is are. That means neither the teacher nor the students are present. Friends, I think you can understand. Obviously, there will be other question where we have to choose differently. Friends, here it is, the answer is are. Friends, question number 7, you can see it is written each of the boys blank space rewarded. Friends, we have to choose the verb, actual verb. Here you can see one thing. Here you can see preposition. Of is a preposition. My dear friends, if we write down any kind of transitive verb in a sentence, after that we have to write down the object. Object of this transitive verb we have to write down. In the same way, if we write down any kind of preposition, after that we have to provide its object. And obviously the object will be noun or pronoun. So here you can see of is the preposition, and after of there is this noun phrase, the boys, it is the object of this preposition. Friends, you know, in agreement we have to agree the verb with that of the subject, not with the object. That means for agreement, this part is not necessary. This part is invalid in agreement. Actual subject is each, and you know each is singular. Each is singular. This is the actual subject and it is singular. So this is the singular form was. The answer will be each of the boys was rewarded. Friends, here you can see where it is plural form, are plural form, have, it is also plural form. Only was is the singular form, so was is the correct answer. There the answer will be each of the boys was rewarded. Friends, I think you understand the logic. The quality of the apples, same thing. This part is not mandatory because apples, this is the object of the preposition of. This is object. So for agreement, this part is the subject. Quality, it is quality. We cannot count the quality. So always it is singular. So we have to agree with the singular verb. We have to write down the singular verb. This is plural. This is plural. This is plural. Is the correct answer. So the quality of the apples is not good. Maybe it is awkward to listen to it, but my dear friends, this is the correct answer. One of my friends, blank space abroad. Friends, the same thing. This is the preposition. This is the object of the preposition. Of is the preposition. So friends, my friends, this is the object of preposition. So one is subject and one is singular. So here live, it is plural form, are living plural form, have lived plural form. Lives is the correct answer. One of my friends lives abroad. Next, the number of students. Friends, same thing. Students, it is the object of preposition of. The number. Friends, two phrases are there. The number and a number of. Friends, the number is always singular because it always indicate any specific number. It may be 20, it may be 50. That means always it is a specific number, and any kind of specific number, it is always singular. So here we have to choose the singular verb, that is. Here you can see a number of students. Friends, it is plural. A number of is plural. So we have to choose the plural verb. It is singular, it is singular, it is singular. So R is the correct answer. Friends, always remember, a number of, it is treated as plural. The number, it is treated as singular. So I think you can understand. He is one of those writers who blank space admired. Friends, it is basically a relative clause. Who is the relative pronoun here? Relative pronoun here, and this is a pronoun. And for that noun we have used pronoun. Friends, you know pronoun is always used instead of any kind of noun. So before this term, this part is written, writers. Friends, actually this is called antecedent, and according to the antecedent, that means according to this, that means for agreement we have to judge these antecedent, because who is the pronoun from and who may be used with the singular subject, who may be used as singular subject, who may be used as plural subject. So from who we cannot understand whether it is singular or plural, and for that we have to think about the antecedent. The antecedent is plural, so the verb will be plural. Here R is the correct answer. So the answer is, he is one of those writers who are admired. Friends, here almost the same thing, only this term is added. He is the only one of those writers who blank space admired. Friends, here we cannot write down R, because my dear friends, when this emphasizer is used, only is the emphasizer. Whenever you can see this emphasizer in the antecedent part, so obviously after the emphasizer what is written you have to look at. Here it is one, that means it is an indefinite pronoun. Friends, according to this indefinite pronoun we have to choose the verb. One is singular, so we have to choose the singular verb here. The actual antecedent is one here, so we have to identify the antecedent properly, then only we can write down the answer correctly. Friends, here is the correct answer. He is the only one of those writers who is admired. Only for, friends, as this emphasizer is written, that is why the answer is. Friends, I think you can understand. Not only the students but also the teacher. Friends, I told you earlier, not only and but also, these are correlatives, and for agreement this is the place of the verb. So the part which is close to the verb, that is very important for agreement. Here the teacher, it is singular because it is close to the verb, so the verb will also be singular, is. Mathematics. Friends, mathematics is the name of the subject, as it is written S at the end of it, like this one, boys. Friends, there is a difference between these two words. It is the plural form, the actual form is boy. That means we have added this S to make it plural, but we have not made this term plural by adding a S. The name of this subject is mathematics, and it is singular. Friends, you can see physics, you can see civics. So after so you know these types of, you know the names of these types of subjects, like physics, like civics. At the end of this word you can see there is S, but it is not plural. So mathematics, it is singular, that is why the answer will be is. Friends, if it is written, if you can see, I'm just giving you one information. If it is written my mathematics, friends, if it is written my mathematics, then it is plural. At that time, mathematics, this term mathematics, it does not mean the subject, it means the reckoning, it means the accounting. At that time it is plural, but right now it is singular. The police, blank space, investing the case. Friends, the term the police, it is always plural, it is always plural, it is plural. So obviously we need plural verb, and here you can see R is the plural verb. 10 miles, friends, it is a distance. That means from this point to this point, it's a distance, and distance, it is uncountable. It is uncountable, that means we cannot count it, so it is singular, it will be is. 10 miles is a long distance. Next, bread and butter. Friends, bread and butter, two separate nouns, but these are used jointly. That means without the help of bread we cannot use butter, Without the help of butter, we cannot use bread. That means these are treated jointly. These are eaten, or these are we have this thing jointly. So it is treated as one food, and it is singular. One food is singular. Thus, whenever two separate nouns or two separate ideas are jointly treated as singular idea, at the time it is singular. Just like this one, just like time and tide. Time is related to tide. Tide is related to time. So whenever this term is written, it is not plural, it is singular. Same thing here also, it is singular. The answer is. Either you or he, blank space responsible. Friends, either or correlative conjunctions. This is the place of the verb. So you have to choose the subject which is close to the verb. So here he is close to the verb. So the answer is. He, either you or he is responsible. It is high time you, blank space, serious. Friends, it is high time. This phrase, if it is written, it is high time, it is about time. So these types of phrases always attracts. That means after this phrase we have to use subjunctive mood. That means we cannot use indicative mood or tense verb here. We have to write down subjunctive mood, and it is basically hypothetical or imaginary sentences. This is not the fact. So we have to choose, and for present imagination, we have to use the. For present imagination, my dear friends, we have to use the verb to form. It is the subjunctive mood, subjunctive form, that is became. Became is the correction. It is high time you became serious. The answer is actually the fact is I am not. That means you became serious. That means you are not serious. This is the meaning. This is the tense, and this is subjunctive mood. The actual meaning is you are not serious. That is why it is imagination that you became serious. So the answer is became. This is the V2 form. The answer is it is high time you became serious. Friends, this is the correct answer. He would rather. Friends, would rather, would sooner, oh that, if only, I wish. All these types of phrases attracts subjunctive mood. So here the same thing, V2. The answer will be came. No need to see anything. The answer will be came. He would rather you came tomorrow. Unless you work hard, you, blank space, fail. Friends, this is called conditional sentence. Friends, for conditional sentence we can use if or unless. Unless is basically the negative form. Unless is the negative form and if is the affirmative form. This is the main difference. So unless you work hard, you dash fail. Friends, if you can see here in this part, if you can see, it is present. This is the subject and work is the verb. So you work, it means it is present tense. So if you can see present tense here, we have to write down future indefinite, that is will. If this part is past, we have to write down would. If this part is perfect, that means had plus V3. At that time, we have to write down would have plus V3. This is the main thing. These are called conditional sentence. Actually, conditional sentence means if this part is fulfilled, then the next part will be a true one. That means the meaning of this second part is entirely dependent upon the first part. If this condition is fulfilled, the second part will be the result. This is the main thing. That is why it is called conditional sentence. As you have seen here, it is the present form, so we have to choose will from here. Unless you work hard, you will fail. This is the correct answer. By the time he arrived, we, blank space, dinner. Friends, by the time he arrived, this is the time. You can see it is a time clause, and you can see here it is the past form. So two actions there, you can see there is another action. Here it is the verb form. So two actions are there. Friends, here you can see it is by the time he arrived. Here this is the action. That means this is action 2. And in past time, you can see we have to write down the number 1 action. That means number 1 action means this action took place before the second action. For these past 2 relations, we have to use actually past perfect, because this time is past of past. Actually, this is the immediate past. Number 2 is the immediate past. This is the past of past. So we have to write down past perfect from here. That means had plus V3 will be the correct structure. Had plus V3. This is the past perfect structure. Before that, obviously, there will be the subject. Here, we is the subject. Here, it will be had plus V3. Had plus V3 means had finished. Friends, I think you can understand. Denied. Friends, denied is such kind of verb which always attracts gerund here as its object. Gerund means verb V1 present form of verb plus ing used as noun. We cannot write down here it is infinitive form, we cannot write down. Here it is bare infinitive, we cannot write down. Here it is past form, we cannot write down. Stealing is the correct answer because we have to choose one gerund here, and gerund means base form of verb plus ing used as noun. Here you can see stealing is the object. Friends, here you can see stealing, the actual sentence is he denied stealing money. Actually friends, stealing, this stealing, it will be the object of deny. It will be the object of deny. Denied what? So denied stealing, this is the object. As it is derived from a verb, so obviously there is a verbal force, and stealing is such kind of thing which is always, actually it is transitive. That means after that obviously you have to provide its object. This money is the object of stealing. This money is the object of stealing. Here you are writing down stealing, and money, that is the object of stealing. Friends, I think you can understand the logic. Scarcely had she entered the room, blank space, everyone stood up. Friends, scarcely, hardly, barely, these are correlatives. Actually these are adverbs and used as correlative when it is jointly used. Scarcely, hardly and barely, these are always followed by when. Scarcely, barely, rarely, hardly, these are followed by when. So the answer will be scarcely had she entered. And my dear friends, you know, if we use these types of adverbs at the beginning, so obviously the next part will be inverted. Here you can see it is written had she entered, that means it is the inverted form. So the structure is correct, and we have to choose when from here because we cannot write down then. No sooner it is used with then. Then it is not conjunction, it is actually verb. That it is conjunction, it is subordinate conjunction, but it is not correlative. It cannot be used, that cannot be used with any kind of correlative conjunctions. Correlative is hardly, when, scarcely, no sooner than, not only but also, these are correlative. So scarcely is followed by when. Friends, I think you understood all the questions discussed here. And my dear friends, if you have any question, you can write it down in the comment section. I will try to solve this problem. And friends, if you have any question which is unsolved, you can write it down in the comment section. I will try to solve it and obviously inform you as soon as possible. Friends, I think all these questions are discussed according to my knowledge. I have discussed it clearly. There is no such mistake. I'm 100% sure that there is no such mistake. I have discussed it clearly. All the answers are correct. Friends, if you like this video, I'd like to request you to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. I will post these types of videos regularly. Friends, thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you.